Alright, good afternoon everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 3rd day of December 2025. It's my first one I've actually done on a Wednesday in 3 weeks, I think. So, things I want to talk about today, I want to talk about indicators that paint normally, like the ones that you normally see me using, and indicators that repaint, which are indicators that you haven't seen me use yet. I'm really going to try to avoid using the repaint indicators. There's stuff that would just create a whole bunch of problems for a lot of people if we were to use repainting tools. There would be a lot of questions that come up after the fact, because what it looks like right now might not be what it looks like when you have another 100 bars. Okay, so the difference between painting and repainting is, the stuff that I normally use in here, like anything that I've created that you guys have used so far does not repaint. Okay, you see how this says repainting mode enabled? That is for those little dots right there. Those are being repainted. Now what that means is, this may be just a little bit more information than you want to hear, but what that means is it takes all this data that it's calculating on every single bar, every single tick of every single bar, and it sticks it into an array, and then it does that for 499 bars. And after the 499 bars, it gets rid of the one that's 499 bars ago and adds a new one. And because it does that, it alters where where these bars are, where the indicators are. So I've made it so it minimizes the repainting. I've actually done it so it takes the repainting out. I've done it so it averages the unrepainted and the repainted, trying to minimize as much of it as I can, because it does give really good signals. Now, the problem with that is you can see here that it gives really good signals, right? It gave a long trade right there. What I'm looking for is the arrows outside the bands, right? The black arrows outside the bands are the actual signals is what I'm looking for. Okay, and you can see that it does give really good signals right here. And every one of these, that was a good signal, that was inside the band, so that's not. This is outside the band, that's a signal. That's outside the band, that's a signal. That's inside, that's not. This is outside, that would be a signal. Then that one probably would have stopped out. This is outside, that's a signal. This is outside, that's a signal. But 10 minutes from now, this might not be outside the band. You see how close it is to outside the band right there? 10 minutes from now, that might not be outside the band, because the bands are going to shift, right, based upon the data that we get coming in. So in real time, this is good information. You can act on it in real time. But the nature of pretty much everyone that is subscribed is to go back and look at how it did in the past. You don't just blindly say, okay, well, I just trust you and I know that from now on it's going to work however you said it worked in the past. And, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Because you can't guarantee anything's going to work in the future the same way it did in the past. And when you're using repainting stuff, you can't guarantee what it looked like in the past unless you make a video of it. And I've done that. There is one way that you can do this so that you can see the real-time value of it all with the repainted stuff, and that is if you don't use range bars, you use some kind of other bar, like a minute bar, like this, and then you do a replay on it, like this, and you go back in here, like this, and then you can do a replay. And when you do the replay, it's going to do the indicators based on the current information that it's outputting with those bars. Alright, so you see what they did then, but then if we go all the way through this with the replay play all the way out, and we come back and look at these bars will probably not be in exactly, not the bars, but the lines in here will probably not be in exactly the same place on each one of these bars. That's the difference. Okay, so you won't have any historical stuff to go back and look at when you use replay. Well, not when you use replay, but when you use repainting. Repainting and replay are two different things. Okay, but you can see on the 1 minute there was, you had a short there, you had a short there, you had a long there, you had a short there. These are inside the range, so you wouldn't have anything in there. And we'll just let it play out. It won't take long. It'll take like a minute maybe. And doing this, you can see what would have happened if you were trading at that point in time. You would have seen what decision you should have made, and this is on a 1 minute. Okay, so up here, it didn't give you anything. What you're looking for is the gray ones that get toward the outside, like that right there. You would have just gone long right there, on that one right there. Okay, and we'll let it play out a little bit more, and then and then we'll get back to reality, because this kind of stuff. There we are, right at the end of it right there. So there was one trade that would have triggered. Now, that's all well and fine. If you want to use that, it's good information. When you're trading in real time, it's good information, but you can't go back and look at it in the past. Unless you're making a video of everything that you did, you won't be able to go back and look at it in the past. So, this is what it looks like when it's not repainted. Okay. Now let me show you something about the repainting. Here, this is the repainted version. I want to show you this too. It only goes back, like I told you, it only goes back 499 bars, right? Here it is, right there. There's the end of it. 499 bars. Right there is the end of it. Now, the signals are still there because the data at that time did give the indication to give the signal. Alright, so the signals are still there, but the lines aren't there anymore. The bands aren't there anymore. So if I actually turn that off, then you'll see here, oops, I did it wrong, hang on. If I turn that off and I click OK this time, you'll see here that that these lines are not in exactly the same place as the repainted dash lines were. Now this is still good information. It's not as good as the repainted lines. I'm just bare like this. It's not as good as the repainted lines. So, I mean, I'm telling you all this. You guys are probably wondering why the heck I'm even bothering with this, because this has got nothing to do with the scalp tool or anything like that. But I'm always trying to improve things and find things that are going to work out better for you guys, because some of you guys can't do the scalp stuff because it's just too fast for you. That one trade, how do you get the bands on your chart? You guys don't have access to it yet, Mark and Jessica. And what is the big red square boxes that show up? All the ones that show up for you. Nobody has that but you, Jessica. You can just ignore those right now. Those are something that I was testing. Okay. So the range bar does not need to be out of the line. This is a 1 minute bar right now, but if I go back to the range bar, then you do want the range bar to be outside the lines. Okay, when it's outside the lines, that's when you take the trade. If the black bar is outside the lines, the gray bars don't have to be, but the black bar does have to be outside the lines. Okay, and Mark, this is something I'm working on for the swing trade. Okay, and what I was going over here was the difference between painted lines and repainted lines. Not painted, but regular, normal lines and repainted lines. Particularly with the range bar, the normal lines happen on bar close. All right. You can't have, they don't give you any indication until the bar closes. But the repainted lines, when you go back and look at it, they adjust. I mean, what I just showed you there, these repainted lines after 409 bars stop. And so I've created various versions. As I said, I've created versions that don't repaint. The results are not quite as good, just by making it not repaint, the results are not quite as good. I've actually created something that does the repainting ones in exactly the same place as the repainting ones, and then when you get to the 499, it switches to the regular bars, to the regular lines, the not repainted lines. It has like a 3-minute span where it doesn't paint anything in between them though. And I created another one that just does an average of the repainted and the regular lines, and that worked pretty well. And it minimizes the repainting effect. So these are just things that I'm working on in the background. So far in this session, though, I took one trade right here at the beginning of the session, and I got 4 ticks profit on it. This was the regular swing trade short right here. All right. So what I was working with all that repainted stuff, all these bands, it's only on the swing trade that I'm working on that with. And I was doing it on a 4 range because we are likely to get trades on a 4 range. Now, the other stuff that we have going on, like right here, this should have probably given us an arrow right here. There's some reason that it didn't give us an arrow right here, because it was a down close right here on an up close up here. So typically that would give you an arrow going down, telling you to sell the open of this bar. Now it didn't, because I know there are some things that I built into that. If you go over here to the data window, the angle I think is off. The angle is going to be a certain angle for it to actually give you the down arrow indication. Okay, I think it's going to be 85% or more. And it's not that. So that is why it did not give you an indication right there. Or I don't remember exactly what the angle is going to be. I gave you one right here, so it's not 85, but I don't remember what I set that to. Anyway, so this is about to set up a trade right here. Okay. Now, regular swing trade, if we got a down close on that bar, we would have a trade. If we get a down close on this bar right now, the black arrow is going to be outside the band, so that would be a trade that I would be looking to take. Okay. And if we got the black arrow on this bar for regular swing trade, that would still be a trade I'd be looking to take, though this did not put in a lower swing right here. It didn't continue the trend. But it should at least... Now, I know I'm saying a lot of words. It should at least get to right here. Right. Now, let me explain why it should get to right there. Okay. Even if it doesn't continue the trend, it should get to a 50% retracement of this leg up, which would be right here, before it continues, reverses, and goes in the opposite direction. So it should get to right here, at least. Right? If it does continue to move down right now, if it does start to move down, this is where it should get down to. Now, I know those were a lot of words, and I want to say it a little slower, so that I'll draw it for you too. Right? So it didn't give us the down close right there. Now this right here showed weakness because this was the swing low and did not go through the swing low. So that showed weakness on the downside. This is showing strength on the upside. We're still looking for the down close here. We'll still take the down close here. It'll be a swing trade short, and it would be one of these band trade shorts as well. I know we're working on a 4 range. That was just so we'd have something to trade with in here in the time period that we're working in. We're also right at the high of the day on the ES. It's right there. This is the high of the day right here on the ES. But what I was saying is, right now, we made this move up, right? We made that move up right there. And then from this swing trade, it made it down to here, but it didn't go through the prior swing low, so it made it down to here, like that. Right? And now it's made this move up right here, and it actually just went up above the prior swing high. So now we have higher highs and we have higher lows. So now what it should do, even if it gives you the swing trade short right here, it should only go to about right here, 50% retracement of this leg up, which would be about right here. Right now, anyway, that's where that should go to. So if you do get the down close like that right there, then this is where it should go, right here. Okay, it should go down to probably 68, 67, 75, 68, right? So here's the trade. And it should go down to right about in here. 60, 65, 75 has got a larger number at it. But this is what we're looking at. Okay, so it should go down to here. And then it should reverse off of that, is what I'm thinking. Unless it does a complete turnaround here at the high of the day. That's what it should do. It's got to go one more tick to bump the stop to break even. It'll go by itself like that. Okay. I'm just going to lock in one tick on this. And this is the level that it should go down to. You guys see all that, right? Right here is where it should go down to. And we'll see if it does. We have one tick locked in. That's $125 with 10 contracts on. So I'm not ashamed to take just one tick. As a matter of fact, on the ES today, the ES really whooped me this morning. The stuff that I was using this morning, trading off the midpoint this morning, was not working very well with the ES. The ES was my negative market this morning. I'm gonna lock in one more tick because I think it's running out of steam right here. We're just about at the point where it should reverse right here. Right. So in this session, today is 12/3. So far, which one is ES? I screwed this up the last time. Okay, ES is right here. So far, that's 6 ticks. We got 2 on that last one and 4 on the first one. And 2 trades. 0 stop outs. Okay. This morning I had 10 stop outs. Almost all of them on the ES. Alright. So did everything that I just said right here when I drew this in and drew this in, did that make sense to you all? This was the indication to go down, even though we're in basically an uptrend. Give the indication to reverse right there. When you get swing trades, it's usually going to happen like that. The swing trades are usually going to happen after you've been going in one direction for a while. You're going to get the indication to go in the other direction. That's just the nature of the swing trades. Okay. Okay. So nothing else has given us a trade in here. I think I have this set to, yeah, to show the lines and the arrows. Okay. And I'm accidentally putting these little red dots everywhere. Click on that. So you can go delete some of those little red dots. Alright. So, the whole notion behind this thing that I've created here is to help you guys have fewer, higher probability swing trades when using the swing trade tool. Okay, if I put it here like this, and I put it on, say, a 47 range, you're looking for the same thing. It's going to be outside, outside. And that one was outside. See, this one might have been outside before you had all that extra data in it. Outside, 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 outside. That one, that might have been, it might not have been. But getting rid of these right here that happen inside the bands, it's removing the ones that happen inside the bands. Not that they're all bad, they're not. You know, a lot of those are really good. But grabbing it from the outside of the band, working on the way inside of the band is really good too. Now I did create another thing in here that I'm still... Is it on this one? No, it's not on this one. Hang on. Minimize that. Oops. I'll put that back on. Sorry, it's on a different one. This, on this one. How do you find the outside bands? How do you find them? When I give them to you, when I'm finished creating it, John, it's going to be part of the swing trade tool. It'll be within the swing trade tool. Okay, it'll be within this one right here when I'm finished creating them. Alright. I'm still working on it. But you see what that did right here? Oh, that's on a 47 range now. That's on a 4 range for a rack here. Oops, sorry. That was on a 7 range. This was on a 4 range. There you go. So it made it just about down there and then started moving up. And that's kind of what I thought it was going to do. Now the thing that I created, this right here, is the thing that I created to help even further identify trades that would be really good. So I'm always working on things to make it better for you guys, better for you, better for me, make it easier, make things higher probability. There was one point where I had 2 trades in a row that stopped out, and I just don't like it when that happens. So are they like volatility bands such as Bollinger? They use a different formula. You know, they're bands sort of like, you know, Bollinger bands, and there's a bunch of other kinds of bands. If I go in here and I search for bands, there's Bollinger bands, there's Keltner channels, there's Fibonacci bands, VWAP bands, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of bands. These don't use any of those formulas. There is a formula, a specific formula that they use, that I massage quite a bit. And actually this blue line right here uses that formula. I know that looks like a moving average, but it's not. But I took the formula that, roughly the formula that positions these, and I created this so that you could use that against that. And I don't know, you know, sometimes when I get tired I just create things and look at it the next day and see if it was worthwhile. Sometimes it is. There's this other thing that I created just the other day. My up-down volume. This is what it looks like right here, but what I did is I took the up volume and the down volume and I reversed them, and then I took the difference between them and I got rid of the up volume and made it only down volume with the difference between the up and down volume. Oops. Like that. And so in here, when you get these little divergences like that, it resolves to the down volume area almost every time. You get these little divergences, like this, and like this. The next bar, in this case, the next bar is going to go up. If the red were on the bottom, the next bar would go down. Like right here, the next bar would go down. Right here, the next bar would go up. Right here, the next bar would go up. That one's too wide. See, I don't want to have the big divergence. I want the little ones like this. The next bar would go up like that. That's what I found. Right here, the next bar would go up. Next bar would go down. And that's just completely based on volume. I know some of you guys, you've suggested I use volume in things, and I have used volume in things, but this is completely based on volume, right? There's nothing other than volume in this. Volume and the math around the volume that I created. So it's a pretty cool thing. I may find something, some value in it at some point. I haven't really finished that thought out yet, though. Alright, so we're going to trade some more. Right, so far we just have a couple of trades. We have 2 shorts here on the ES, right? I think we took one here and one over there. Is that what we did? Anyway, we're on the 4 range right now, and it came down to here where I thought, roughly where I thought it was going to go down to. What I was looking at was a 50% retracement of this. That's what I was looking at. Alright, so it didn't make the full 50%, but that's why I trailed my stop up close when it was going down. And now it's put in a higher swing. It's not going to give us a trade right here. Right, these other guys in here, they could end up giving us some sort of a trade, but they're just not doing it right now. Now, I could go to a different market. Let me look at the other markets right now. Gold was, I did well with gold this morning, but as far as trading it went, alright, the NQ doesn't have that much of a spread right now. So the NQ is pretty liquid right here. But gold this morning, for a period this morning on the gold, it just wasn't liquid at all. And it was a miss. Let's go to the GC. And we'll do the GC on a 9 range, because that's what my DOM is set up for. Wait, oops, not GCZ, sorry. GC should be on the G contract. Just so you all know, and we'll do that on the 9 range. Okay, and where is my gold DOM? I know I just had it a minute ago. No, I just had it a minute ago. Give me a sec. Here it is. Where'd that pop up? Oh, it's right there on top of my ES. Okay. Alright. So, we'll watch the gold and the ES right now for trading opportunities. Does anybody have any questions about anything at this juncture? We've gone about a half an hour, and so far I've talked about the things that I wanted to talk about. Nobody's asked a single question about it, as far as I can see. I answered every question. Are they like volatility bands such as Bollinger? And Jessica, the big red square that you're getting, that was something that I tried to build in. That's actually something that I just threw into here, like this thing right here. That's what that is. And I didn't put that in for any real reason. I put it in so I would have the code for when that occurred to put in something else that was more involved, but I never got around to it. Okay. It does. It does work like the scalp. Yeah, it's got its own math that goes into it. Sid, the question was why wouldn't the swing on a 4 range work like a scalp? You can use the swing on a 4 range if you want to. When I first created it, I said it does work on all the. I originally created it for a larger time frame. I stuck it on a 4 range in here just so I could give you examples of what I was working on with the swing trade tool. But now it's on a 4 range, so we can just watch it on a 4 range. You can trade it on anything you want, Sid. Okay, if you want to use the swing trade thing because you get an indication before the bar is going to happen, and you're more comfortable with that, you can use it on a 4 range if you want to. You're not going to get as many trades off of this as you will with the scalp tool. Okay. Orientation. Would that be helpful overlay to the channels for identifying overall direction or strength? Craig, you have stuff within TV trades. I know you're mixing things up right there, but you have stuff within TV trades that does that too. Okay. Now, you shouldn't do this with swing trades. You shouldn't use these background colors with swing trades because they're usually going to be opposite. Okay, they're usually going to be opposite because the swing trades, they happen at the end of the trend and the colors happen at the beginning of the trend. But if you wanted to use that with, say, the scalp trades, you know, if you want to just go long when you have a blue background and just go short when you have a red background, that's something that you can consider doing. Okay. The swing, no, it's not yet, Sid. It's not. Okay, but you have this here, Craig. So you can use that. It was easy in DT Pro to compare volumes to know when to roll contracts. Do you look in Sierra or TradingView? Kurt, what I did is this. Go to, go like this. Go like a 30-minute chart. Go to, where is it? I know I have one here somewhere. Here it is. Go to a 30-minute chart like this. And the question was how to know when to switch to roll. Okay, go to a 30-minute chart and go to technicals and go down here at the bottom and put volume on. Okay, and right here on the ESZ contract right now we have 68,059 on this 30-minute candle. But if we're looking at gold, because that's what you're really talking about, I think, right? Because we just rolled the gold. If you look at gold on the Z contract, it has 4,159, and if you look at gold on the G contract, which is the current one, it has 42, did I do that right? It has 4,200. That doesn't look right at all. But that's how you would do it. You would just put that in there. Correct. Alright, use a volume chart like this on a time-based thing. You can do it on a daily or whatever. But go back and forth and find out which one is easiest. I mean, which one has got the most. That's how I would look for it. That's how I do look for it. Okay. Okay, we got some good questions in here. Now let me get rid of this. Okay, we'll put this back to ES Z contract. By the way, we're going to be rolling the ES probably next week. The new contract becomes available on the second Thursday of the month. The new contract becomes available. So the new contract will become available next Thursday on the 11th. Okay, that's when the date is. I mean, the volume is really going to probably start rolling. All right, so Kurt, I answered yours. Next one down was Jim. The scalp tool is showing sells, where yours is showing buys. Any idea why? Yeah, my scalp. Well, I'm using a different scalp tool than you are. Okay, and I'm on a 4 range. You're probably not on a 4 range either. Okay, and I'm not using a scalp tool. This is a swing tool. Over here, though, on the gold and on the ES, if you're using the same time frame, then we should be getting the same signals over there because the scalp tool. You know, well, one of them's got this one's got the fade on, and this one has the scalp on. So this is fade, and this is scalp. Okay, Jim. And Craig, I think I answered yours, right? Daryl wants me to go into more detail on scalp, such as signs or cautions that might give pause or take the signal blindly. And Kurt said okay. And Gary said you don't think you have the correct TV trades. TV trades range, sniper, TV range, trigger. Could it be because you have the old indicators? Probably. I mean, Gary, I gave you access to the other. There's only 2 other ones in here that you would have access to. It's the scalp tool and the swing trade tool. And I am almost certain that I gave you access to both of those. I can go look right now on another monitor and see. It's going to log me off of this one for a second, but let me just make sure. If I go here and see, click on manage. Hold that thought. Manage access. Yep, you are right there at the top of the list. So you do have access to those. So you can send me a screenshot, but what you're going to need to do, refresh your charts, maybe take your indicators off and put them back on. Okay? But you can send me a screenshot too. Alright, so I'll see what you actually have going on. That might make it a little easier to help you fix. You can stick it out in Telegram. That would be the easiest way to send it to me too. And Jim, you said on gold they're not in your indicator list. Okay, well then you need to refresh. You need to shut off TradingView and turn it back on. Okay, then it will be. Daryl. Alright, so with the scalp tool, right, there was just a short right here that I didn't get on the gold. That was a fade short right here. And the reason you got that is because this just popped over to the side like that. As it gave an up close, that showed weakness on the up close. Okay. Alright, good. I'm glad that resolved. And Daryl, go into more detail on scalp, such as signs or cautions that you might give pause to take when you take a signal blindly. Well, you're kind of just taking the signal blindly. One thing you don't want to do is put it on with the swing trade tool, because they're usually going to be opposite. You know, if you're going to do the scalp tool with different pieces of it like this, you know, then separate them like this. Don't try to do it all on top of one another. Separate them like this. Like this has got the actual scalp version of it going. You know, in here, this is what I have checked. And on this one, the fade is what I have checked. Okay. And if you want to do the B-Rev one, you should do that on a separate one as well. Like I could put the B-Rev one on this. You know, since I'm not putting it anywhere else, I could put that on here. And in here with the display all. Now inside the display all, you know of course that the we want that, and we want to get rid of the scalp. That's what's right there. Okay, there we go. This is what you really want when you're using this, because you want to have this show up in this area. This little blip like that one right there. That's what you want to have show up in that area. That's a trade right there. I don't have it turned on to give you the arrow here, but that would be a trade right there, short. Okay, this would be a trade right here to go long on the next bar. This would be a trade to go short on the next bar. So I don't have anything developed yet, Daryl, that is going to give you an indication ahead of time that something's coming up with this. I mean, all you can do is basically just see when price gets to like this level, right below the line. And if the next bar closes up and that shows weakness, then that's it. I mean, you can be ready when it gets up here, but there's not really anything else I have for that. I was, you know, all these other things that I've created have been a result of me trying to find something to help you identify that ahead of time. So I don't have anything really to help you with that. The question was signs or cautions that might give pause when you take a signal. Right? If you're in a really strong trend, then sorry, I got messages just popped up. If you're in a really strong trend and you have a failed trade, you know, you might want to wait until you have some sort of resumption of the trend before you trade again. If you have a failed trade going opposite the trend. And the dash lines are good. The way I have it right now, I mean, it's inside this version of the swing trade. You guys don't have that yet, but it's inside this version of the swing trade, and you can turn that on or off. That's if you turn off the dash line that's not repainted. And that still works out pretty well, but I found that if you have it not repainted, like I have it on this one, if you have it not repainted here, and then you have this other tool that I created in here that uses the same logic that the repainted uses, but you use that in here. And every time that goes outside the bands and you get a closed back underneath it coming back inside the bands, that tends to work out really well. That's one of the things that I'm working on for you guys. Like right here, where it goes outside the band and closes back down below it, coming back inside, right there, right there, right there, right here. It doesn't give as many signals, obviously. It doesn't give as many signals, but but the signals that it does give are still really good, and that's what I'm looking to get for you guys. Okay, so it doesn't have the repainting. Remember how a few minutes ago I showed you how this ended after 499 bars? This does not end after 499 bars. If I go in here and I put this repainting on, you see how it went away? That's because we're beyond 499 bars. There's 499 bars right there. Right. But if I take that off, and you still have another tool in here that I'm working on for you guys that will make it really good, and you won't have the repainting. Okay. And I did actually create alerts for all this stuff too, but I was a little premature creating the alerts because you really gotta have everything else working before you go creating alerts on it. So this is the GC right here, right? The GC just gave this short. Using what I just showed you right there, the GC just gave that short, and that was a nice trade. No, Sid, this is only, this band thing is only on the swing trade. It's not in the scalp stuff, right? If I shut the scalp tool off, it's just like that. Okay. How do I think the swing trade will work in the morning? It'll work great in the morning. I've been watching it and keeping track of all that stuff, Mark. So it works great, all the time. But I wanted, the whole reason my whole subject matter this time was the paint versus repaint. Right? Isn't that what it was? This thing here, normal versus repaint. And I wanted you guys to understand what the repaint is all about. This is using the repaint. So right now in real time, these things show really good trades in real time. But remember when I took this trade at the beginning, this black was outside the band. Remember, if we go back and watch the beginning, if you go watch the beginning of this video, this was outside the band at the beginning, and now it's not. See? Now it could be that I had a different swing trade setting on there. No, that's not that one. That's TV trades. No, it was outside the band at the beginning, but that's what the repainting is all about. When you go back and look at it in hindsight, it might look better in hindsight. But that's not what it looked like in real time. Because in real time, that was a trade there that we took. And this was a trade here that we took also. We took 4 ticks on that, 2 ticks on that, I think, or something like that. Alright. So this was a trade here on gold a few minutes ago that I didn't get to do because it had already gone down to here by the time I saw it. And you mean best range setting, Sid? Is that what you meant by that? The ricochet trade. It is kind of like that game. I forgot what that game is. Pong. That's what it is, right? You can use it on whatever you want to, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't really have a best or a worst range setting. You can use it on whatever you're comfortable with. You use the same risk management strategies you always would. I am working on this thing right here. I'm working on something else with that to give you guys other opportunities or other ways to identify targets using this. Okay, so like right here, right now, we don't have any of the gray arrows, so we don't have a trade coming up yet. But we're outside the band. That's what this little red arrow means. Price closed outside the band. Now, if I put the other one on there, we close outside that band too. the regular one. I'm just checking, make sure these are both sets of 2.1. They are. Alright, so this right here, if I had the scalp trade on right now, that would be a long trade right there on the ES. Alright, you would have bought the open of this bar right here, because that did not make it down to the minus 35. See if I put them on right here. Arrows. There it is. So that would have been a long trade right there. Okay. So, Daryl, going back to your question in here, when you're using this, the B-Rev tool here, this part of it, you can usually get an indication that you're going to have a trade coming up if everything is on one side. Like the red and the black, I mean the blue and the black are all on one side. Then the next bar could be the trigger. Alright, when it's up here, it's all up there like that, the next bar could be the trigger. But with that portion of the scalp tool, that's the one indication that you can have ahead of time. Okay. And you see how in real time, that was below the 35. But now the next couple bars actually brought it all the way down here to the minus 100. Alright. So we have gold right here. Hopefully it'll give us a trade here or two. We've only had a couple of trades so far. For anybody that's coming on right now, the majority of the trades generally happen in the last 15 or 20 minutes of this session. You know, trades that trigger right now, they're generally a little slower. It's when the U.S. markets, U.S. stock markets, getting ready to close, the volatility picks up. Okay. So I just want to go back. Right, so you had the Rev Clean going here too, right, Jim? You have that one going right there. Okay. So right now it's giving a short right in there on the ES. If we had the display all, you can see just the little nub right there. Earlier, how does this setup perform with larger range bars? It works great. Craig, I was only doing it on the 4 range just so you could, you know, we'd probably have more trade opportunities on the 4 range. But it was actually, you know, the swing trade stuff was designed for the larger time frames. If we do this on the 47 range, for instance. Okay, using all the same logic that I showed you a few minutes ago. We'll get rid of that one for right now. Alright, bars outside are the ones you're looking for. So there would have been, well, on the 47 range on the ES, you're not going to have that many opportunities. So far there was one today. But if you go down to like a 19 range on the ES, you had one there, one back here, one there. So every one of those today was a good trade. On a 19 range, yes. Okay. There's a helicopter sound in the background. Do you all have the helicopter sound in the background, or is it just you, Sid? Normally I have my leg exerciser thing going, but I don't have that running right now. Huh. Does it come and go? Crap. That's never a good thing when it's like that. Well, it doesn't seem to be too annoying to you guys. You're not complaining about it too much. Sorry about that. I will reboot after this this meeting is over. That should fix that. Nobody said anything about it in the other meetings I had today. And I did make one quick video this morning. That didn't have anything. So here we have the gray arrow right here, but we're not outside the band, right? So we need a down close, maybe another down close to have a trade here. Now, using the fade, this is not a trade right here. So you're not going to have any kind of an arrow or a line based on the fade. Okay. And the ES trade right here, this one right here, that is working here. It hasn't gone to break even yet, I don't think, has it? I guess it has gone to break even. We'll look at one tick. That was this one right here. Okay, if I go to this and I put the, remember it showed the red there a minute ago? When I put the clean on it, it showed the red. That one right there. So I guess that's one more tick on the yes. Oh, and this isn't moved down. Okay. So we have a gray arrow here, but we need a down close, then probably another down close. So 2 more gray arrows probably before we have a swing trade trigger on the gold right there. And I think, did I put that in there? I know I wrote some code to only display the arrows that are outside the bands. I don't know if it's inside this or not. Kurt, you heard the pitter patter sound most of the time. You thought it was my pedal machine. Well, I don't have the pedal machine going right now. Here. I'll turn it on. You tell me if it's... Here, it's about to start. There. Now my pedal machine is going. Really, really slow. I don't know why. But you can't hear that, I don't think. I've always had the noise, Jessica says. Okay. Alright, so I guess it's always there. It could be the headset. Could be my headset. Be the connection to my headset. I'll have to listen to the recording later. Okay, so this right here, it's not outside the band, so it's not one that you would normally take, right? Given the information that I gave you about the bands, you wouldn't normally take this swing trade right here. Now, again, that's not the repainted band. If I put the repainted band on, then it just about is outside the band. It's still not a trade, but it's pretty close. It could be the headset. I'm gonna have about a dozen of these things hanging around. Yeah, the leg thing is going right now. I don't think you guys can hear that at all right now. Sometimes they wax on things. It makes a noise, but... Alright, so it's 3:21. And so far we've had just a few little trades. I didn't take this trade. Right, we had just a few little trades so far. And made a little bit of money so far. So, Bob Z. Some noise from the house of my neighbors. I don't know about that. Could be, but they have fiber optics. So. No, it wouldn't be capturing anything off of Wi-Fi or anything like that. Alright, so we're just waiting for some opportunity here. We could get something here, but I don't think we're going to. Everything's on one side over here, so this could turn into something here. This Daryl is what I was talking about earlier. Alright, you see how everything's all on one side down here right now? So it could turn into something on the next bar. I see your questions. You want to send the screenshot, but you can't find me on Telegram. You can do it by my phone number, Gary. I'll type it in for you. You do it by my phone number, or my ID in Telegram is at trading_I_Q. At sign trading_I_Q. Right. You could text it to me on the phone too. I have been seeing your questions. I think I've been answering your questions, haven't I? Restarted that. Yeah, oh, okay, I didn't see that one. Okay, I didn't see that one up there. Okay, so now we're going to have one that's outside the range right here. So an up close on this bar will probably give us a black arrow. There's going to be a trade that you want to take. Alright, based on this new thing. That is one that you'd want to do right there. Now, it'll probably be based opposite of the scalp tool. Right? That is why you can't do the scalp tool and the swing trade at the same time, because a lot of times they are going to be opposite. Okay. When we are... Huh. I did not know that. I was not aware of that. Robert Z. Okay, so this right here is a trade you would want to take on the yes. Okay, and it is opposite of this. This is suggesting if we had the arrows on for this, it would be giving a short right here. It would have a red arrow right here. Okay, I'll slide this off to the side, and I'll put those arrows on just so you can see what I'm talking about. See that? That's what I was talking about. You sent me the screenshot in Telegram. Okay, it did. I got something in Telegram. There you are. You are right there. Okay. Yes, you do not have them in there. That means that either the ID that you gave me is bad, which it isn't, I'm sure, or you need to refresh your charts. You said you shut it off and turned it back on. I will go and look again. It's going to shut off these charts for a second, but I'll look over here again, and I'll show you. I'll show you exactly the ID that you gave to me for this tool. Okay, I'll turn that back on. Come over here, and I'll stick it in Telegram for you there, Gary. That is what I have for you for that tool. And it's not showing up on yours. So there's something else happening. Now on the gold, this right here on the gold was a spot to go long. I hadn't been paying attention to it. But that was a spot to go long there on the up close of the gold. Okay. The yes still hasn't done anything from that trade that we took. It's right here. Okay. The short over here where it said to go short, that worked out. But the long hasn't done anything yet. Okay. Now this one right here suggested to sell the open of this bar. And that did go down like it should. The swing suggested buying the open of that bar. And that hasn't done anything that it should have done yet. And it's about to give us another one. Okay. And there's a little green arrow under there. What that illustrates, that little green arrow, what that illustrates is that you've closed outside the bands. Alright. Okay, well then something is, if that is the correct username, then something is off. I'm going to try to open up a new layout. You want to create a new layout, Gary? Try to create a new layout and put the indicators on it separately. Okay. You do want to do the trades that are outside the bands. Like this right here. You do want to do these trades that are outside the bands. Okay, that's good. Okay. This is the kind of thing that you want outside the bands like this. Now, this is an illustration of the whole repainting thing, right? Because a minute ago, this was outside the band. Okay. We'll lock in 4 ticks on that. It's this one, right here. Okay, I had missed the gold one. Well, I had missed that gold one. I missed that gold one too. I didn't even see that gold one there. I have 4 ticks locked in on this. I was just going to lock in some more. I believe I'm onto this trade now. Yeah, I am. Okay. I did stop out on that one. That one right there stopped me out. It was minus 8 ticks on that. And I just picked up a little bit on that one right there. So let's go in here. We have 1 stop out now. And 5 trades now. And 3 overall here now. Okay, because I stopped out on that, but this is the whole repainting thing. Because a minute ago, if you go back and watch this video, this was outside the bands a few minutes ago. And right now it's not. Right, this one right here is outside the bands right now, and that was a nice trade that we just took some profit on. I didn't do these gold ones. Oops. And 120 minute. Oh, that's an equity trade. Alright, so using smaller bar lengths on the swing trades. I'm just using it mark. I'm only doing it in here so you can see trades trigger. Okay, I wouldn't normally do the swing trades on a 4 range. I'm only doing it so you can see trades trigger in here. Okay. I mean, you can use it on whatever you want, but the reason I'm using it on a 4 range in here is because we only have a certain window to actually have trades. And so I wanted to use a smaller time frame so you could see stuff actually working. And we could discuss it, and I could you could look at the repainting and how the repainting changes things. That is why, and that was the whole focus of this meeting. I wanted to show you guys the benefits of not using repainting. You know, in historical view, you go back and look at stuff and say, okay, well, you know, this a few minutes ago was outside the band, and suddenly now it's not. No, the outside the band arrows are the valid ones, Sid. The ones outside the band are the valid ones. It's the inside the ones that are not. It's the inside the band ones. Like this one right here. See, now a little while ago that was outside the band too. I think. Pretty sure. Okay, so this ended up being nothing down here with the B-Rev. This gold short No, not based on where the swing trade happened. No. But if I put the repainting bands on, then it might have been okay. No, that still's no good. No, you'd want it to happen outside. Like this one right here would have been okay to take. Right here. This one up here would have been okay. This one would have been okay. This one no, and this one no. This one yes, and at the time this one was a yes too, I think. That one I stopped out on. That one I got 4 ticks profit on. Okay, Dan, what is the 4 range yes and what does the red down arrow mean? This just means that it closed outside the band. And the 4 range is, I'm only using the 4 range in here because I wanted you to be able to see some of these trades trigger on the swing trade stuff. You know, if I use a larger time frame with the swing trade, we wouldn't have had a single trade in here. You know, if I use like a 47 range on this, we would have had nothing. Right, the 15 range, we might have had, nope, we wouldn't have had anything on that either. 19 range, nothing. So I went down to the 4 range just so I could show you the way things work with the swing trade thing that I'm working on. And I wanted to show you the differences between the painted and the repainted bars. Okay. Now, that was one thing I haven't shown anybody yet. Cliff, you called me yesterday. I could not answer. I don't know what you wanted. But there's one thing that I haven't shown you yet, guys. If you haven't taken a trial and you want to, go here to tvtrades.com and sign up for the trial here. This page stopped working last night in the middle of the night. I got them to fix it for me today. But just go anywhere in here and click on the orange, and go down to the bottom and take the trial down here. Alright, if you haven't taken the trial yet, that's where you go to take the trial. So, get back in here, we'll see if we can trade some more. We're getting to the point now where it should start picking up, and we should start getting some more trades. So we'll be looking over here more for the scalp trades. Between the gold and the ES over here, we'll be looking for the scalp trades. Okay. If we get some more swing trade stuff that's outside the band, like this one here we just had, this one here was outside the band a few minutes ago, we took. This one was outside the band at the beginning, I think. And we took this one right here. If we got a gray arrow right now, we didn't, but if we did, then we might have another trade coming up there. Right here on, see that black right there? You see right there, the black went above the purple. That's why you didn't get a shorting indication in here. Right now on both of these, Darrow, this one right here, if on an up close on this bar, it fades to the right. It doesn't go, continue the angle that it's at right here. If it fades to the right, and you can see what the angle is. The angle right here is 89.2. It faded, so that would be a sell right there. And that is gold. Right, so that's a sell right there on the gold. It faded to the right. You see the angle changed. 85.7, it actually got a little bit bigger. But that's a sell right there. Okay. Darryl, that was, you asked me earlier how to sort of look for it. That is how I would look for it. When it gets up to this point right here, you start to focus. Because if the next bar closes like that and it fades like that with an up close, that means it's showing weakness. Right, and over here on this, you see how everything's down at the bottom right now? Except the red, everything's down at the bottom. That's suggesting that it could, on the next bar, the next up close, could give a shorting indication here. Okay, that's what that's suggesting. So we didn't get anything over here. We had this one trade back here a little while ago, but I didn't do anything with that. And so we have this one right here on gold right now. That, well, it's just hanging there right now, but here it is. Okay, that should go down, probably down here to 39.1. I don't know if I stop. If I stop, go to break even. I guess we'll lock in one tick on that. That's $100. And we're out with $100. Right, we have one gray arrow here now. So if we get a down close on this one, that'll put it outside the band. Okay. If we get an up close on this one, you could have a black arrow that will still be outside the band because the black right here you see is outside the band. The low of this bar right now is outside the band. So if we get an up close on this right now on the ES4 range, the black is going to be offset from the bottom of the arrow a little bit, so the black will be outside the band at that point. Like that, right there. Okay. And let's go back in here. We got one tick on the gold, right? So gold is here. One. And that was 6. 1, 3, 6. Yeah, I guess that's right. Okay, I think that's right. Alright. Please make the price bars larger. You mean like this? Is that what you mean, Sid? Like that? Okay. This is this ES right here, I think. Yeah, it did actually. Oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. I just got out with one tick. It's going to go up here to 70.25 is where I think it's going to try to get up to. But we just got out of that with one tick. I was checking to see if it had bumped my stop to break even yet, and it did. Crap. I didn't mean to do that though. And this is now 4. And this is 7. Okay. Alright. So right here, Daryl. You see when it's just about at that level right there, if the next bar, it closes down, but it fades to the right, then that's going to be a trade. Okay. It's 3:39. We have about 20 minutes left in here. So I had the stop out on this one right here on the ES a little while ago. That was an 8-tick stop. This did not turn out to be a trade here. This is not a trade here. This is not a trade here. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I got that. So if you're doing things one at a time, right? If you're doing these things one at a time, in here, these are the trades, right? So sell the open to the next bar, sell the open to the next bar, buy the open to the next bar, sell the open to the next bar, buy the open to the next bar. This is the only one that wouldn't have worked out. Right. And if you're doing this one individually, let's get rid of this. You can see all the signals in here. Buy the open to the next bar, sell 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 it, sell it, sell it, sell it. Every one of those right there worked out. Okay, that's using the fade. Okay, and in here, if we get rid of that guy, now, granted, this is with the repainting on, but it said to buy it here, that worked out, buy it here, that worked out. It said to buy it here too, that didn't work out. Sell it here, that did work out, that was outside the band at the time. Sell it here, that was also outside the band at the time. So that worked, that didn't, that did, that did. And if you shut that off, and you put this guy on, and you put those on there, then you will see all the same signals. Sell here, that was enough to get break even. Buy here, that would have stopped out. Sell here, that would have been break even. Buy here, that would not have worked out. Sell here, that worked out well, worked out well, worked out well. Doing the different tools individually. Alright, I know I've been giving you a little bit of a mix of them in here, because I mean it's up to you. You can mix them if you want to. You don't have to. If you just want to do the clean and not the reverse. What the heck did I just do there? I just totally undid something here in the background. Here, I can shut up that like that. If you just want to do the clean like that. And then you can see the signals here. It would have been to sell the open to the next bar, sell the open to the next bar, sell the open to the next bar. Every one of those worked. Right. And this one, buy the open to the next bar. That would not have worked. Sell the open, that would have been okay. Buy the open, that would not have. Sell the open right here. That would have been about a break even. Right, so you got a gray arrow here, so on the next bar, if he gives a down close, the arrow is not going to be outside the range. Okay, it'll be right on the range. It's not going to be outside the range. So if we get an up close on this, followed by a down close on the bar after that, then we'd have another indication. But we're not there. Do you see that? So again, my goal here is to make this as easy as possible for you guys. As easy and as profitable as possible. When the holiday, before the holiday, we had finished up the scalp tool, and I had started working on this before Thanksgiving. And I thought by the end of Thanksgiving, I'd probably have something put together that we could really start to analyze. And I did get something put together that we can really start to analyze. I really want to have an up close on this and not a down close. Now, if we look at the DOM, let's look at the DOM. See, it's a mixed bag. There's the up close. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, if we got a straight down close from here, the black arrow would be right on the band. I would rather have it go up a little bit more and then give us a down close like that. Go up a little bit more and then give us a down close. Now the black arrow is going to be outside the band. Okay. The arrow needs to be outside the band, right, Mark? It's like right now, you see how there's an offset from the arrow to the top of the bar? And the bottom of the bar in this case, but there's also an offset to the top of the bar. So the arrow would be right here on the down close. So you would sell this on the down close right here. Okay. The black arrow should appear if we get the down close. So it's a 4 range, so the high of the bar is here at 69, so the bottom is going to be at 68, so you can sell 67.75 is what you'd be looking at. Okay. Now if it closes up, well then it just pushes it off. Alright, now it just pushed it all a little bit. So Gary, you got everything in there again now? Because I know this is what you're really interested in, this stuff over here, right? It can produce, well, I'm showing you 4 different ways of trading here, Jay. There's 4 different ways of trading, so it can produce a lot of trades. This by itself is on a 4 range. You would normally use that on a 4 range. But on the 4 range, yeah, it's going to produce a lot of trades. You know, I'm not using large time frames here. So there's the black arrow that I was looking for. Okay. And it actually gapped down on the bottom of the bar. It gapped from 69 down to 68.5, so it gapped down 2 ticks. 69 is where you really wanted to enter it. But you got the black arrow outside the range. So right now what it should do is push down here. Now that one thing that I had created over here, I don't have it on this version that I have running on this. But the one thing I had created over here would give you a line in the middle for a target. Well, it might be in the middle for a target. But, okay, so now it's pulled back a little bit. After the gap down, it's pulled back a little bit. So it's a little better spot to short from right here, if you're going to short it. And this right over here on the gold is giving us a long. That is a scalp long right there. And it's also about to give you a swing long to go with it from the outside of the band. I took the scalp long on it. Here it is. I think my stop's at break even. I'll lock in 2 ticks on that. And the yes trade. Here's the yes trade. Okay, 3. guess it's got to go down one more to get the stop to break even. 4 on the gold. The S should go all the way down here. Now the midpoint of this right here is what I was really looking for on the S. I'm going to lock in 4 ticks on the S. We'll lock in 10 ticks on the gold. And okay, so we're out with 10 on the gold. And on the S we have 4 locked in right now. Now I was looking for the S to get to the middle of this range right here. The bottom should be a good target for that. Alright. The bottom right now is at 66 and a quarter. 66 and a quarter is right here. I believe that was one of the numbers. Did I say that number earlier? And I think it had, the DOM had a number at it earlier. I'm just going to get out with 5 ticks right here. Alright. So, and we got a short over there on the gold. I missed the short. It should have been from the open of that bar right there. The short should have been from the open of that bar. It's too late to get now. So in here we had 10 there. And did I get 6 on this or did I get 4 on this? I don't remember. I guess I can go look. Hang on. I will tell you what I got on the yes. 4. So that goes up. Oops, this goes up to 8. And this goes up to 9. Okay. But yeah, if you were doing it on a larger time frame, you know, then you wouldn't have as many trades, obviously. This gold trade right here worked out. If you were doing the scalp right there, you would have taken the fade right there. Right here. And see, Darrow, when it gets up here, that's when you get ready for it. What time is it? It's 9:49. So now is when the trades usually start to kick in. The last 10 minutes here. That's when the trades usually start to kick in. We're at 7 or 8 trades right now already. Right? 9 trades. 1 stop out. 9 trades. And right now we're up $2,000 with 10 contracts on, or 200 with 1, or 20 with a micro. Okay, so now we've gotten outside the band. It's not giving us any gray arrows. So the good thing about the swing trade stuff is you get a gray arrow before the black arrow is going to happen. You're always going to have a gray arrow before the black arrow. You won't always have a black arrow after the gray arrow. You usually will, but not every time. But you'll always have a gray arrow before a black arrow. You can use whatever you want, Gary. The question is, what range setting would I use with a swing trade on the S? You can use whatever you want. Usually, you know, like a 15 range works out pretty well for me, normally. You know, I like to do multiples of 4 minus 1. So the 15, the 19, things like that. That's how I like to do it. Okay, but for in here, I just wanted to see we had a gray arrow right here. So now we need the up close to give us a black arrow on the ES. And there it is. I wanted to have a lot of opportunity in here to show you this stuff. That's why I have it on such a small time frame in here. That's the only reason I have it on such a small time frame in here. Okay. That is the only reason. And the ES, we are short the ES. I mean, we're long the ES, not short the ES. We're long the ES right here. It's not going in our favor yet. Okay. If it does, I'll bring it back out. But if it stops me out, it's 8 ticks. There's a stop on it. And it still doesn't stop me out, or I'll leave it here. It's going to stop me out, I think. Hasn't yet. But if it does, it does. I'm just happy to be positive on the S at this point. The S totally kicked my butt this morning. With the midpoint trades that I was using this morning, it just wasn't working very well with the ES today. You know, I had a lot of stop outs this week. In the 3 days that I've traded this week, I had way more stop outs than I normally have in the first 3 days of any week. So nothing else has given us any trades, right? We just have this one ES trade right here. And this actually just said to short it right here. Just said to sell it right there. That's why you can't run those at the same time as the swing trade stuff. They often go opposite. Right? Because this is the B-Rev. Clean. So I'm going to let this play out however it's going to play out. Right? Just shut that off so it's not bugging me. Oops, I should probably go find my DOM again, shouldn't I? Here it is, right here. Look, we're in money now on the ES. And stop just went to break even. It should, I got it one tick, it should make it up here to 67.75. We got out with the one tick. 67.75's got that number. It should get up here to 69.50. But we're out with the one tick on that. Oops. And just push it in here. That is 9. And this is 10. Alright. And if I put the B-Rev back in here. That, from here, it said to sell the open to the next bar. On a 4 range, it went down 3 ticks before it moved up. We could get another trade here from the scalp. We'll see if we get a gray arrow here. That's the one good thing about, well, it's one of the good things. One of the really nice things about the scalp tool is you get the gray arrow first. You get the gray arrow before you hit a trigger. Now it gave that green arrow because it closed outside the band right there. Now we gave another one because it closed outside the band again. You don't have any gray arrows yet. Let's turn this back on. You don't have anything there either. There you had the gray arrow with the scalp trade all at once. It's like bam, bam, right there all at once. Well, it is getting close to the end of the session. That's why it's starting to pop. It's gap it around a little bit right here because it's getting close to the end of the session. These last 5 minutes, you might see a little bit more action and gaps in here and stuff like that. This is the last one. Lock it in 2. That was from this one right here. It's gonna put another green arrow on. I guess I can put another green arrow on. But that puts that at 11. That at 11. Back here, there's a green arrow here. That is on the gold right here. That was a fade. Now this is a really, really subtle fade right here on the gold. See, you wouldn't really, if you didn't have something to indicate it to you, you wouldn't really see it there. Okay, it's such a subtle fade right in there. This one, it was right here. I was trying to show you this over. Oops, I was trying to show it to you over here. See the angle, how the angle changed. The angle was minus 87 right there, and went to minus 86. That's the difference in there. Crap, I didn't notice that there on the. Well, that's not outside the band, so that's not one you would want to take anyway. That right there, Mark. See, that's not outside the band. That's not one you would want to take right there. This one, outside the band, you want to take. Remember, this one was outside the band earlier. And this one's been going back and forth. That's the whole repainting thing right there. Okay. That is really what I want to illustrate to you guys. Because if I would put this on here, you know, this one's outside the band and that's going to stay outside the band. This is outside the band and that's going to stay. That's outside the band and that's going to stay. These don't move around. These bands don't move around. Okay, so that's, I'm trying to get that worked out just right for you. This was a nice trade right back here a few minutes ago. This was not so nice a trade. That was a nice trade. I don't know, it's 3:57, so I'm going to wrap it up here in a couple of minutes anyway. 2.5 minutes. We're pretty good right now on the day. We're at 23.75. We're not anywhere near our average, but we've had a bunch of small trades in this session. 11 small trades with one stop out. One 8-tick ES stop out. That's a fade right there on the gold. Fade short. That hasn't gone into profit at all yet, but it probably will right now. It's 3:58. We'll see as we wrap up the session here. Does anybody have any questions about anything? I know I only went over this once, but if you haven't taken a trial and you want to, go to tvtrades.com. Can some of you guys try to go to tvtrades.com and just make sure that it works? Because that was not working earlier. Just had to get on with GoDaddy before the meeting and get it working again. tv-trades.com. Just make sure the page comes up and it doesn't say too many redirects or something like that, an error. That's where you go to take the free trial, by the way. I want to show you guys this other one too. If you don't know about this, targetviewtrades.com. This meeting is going to be published here on targetviewtrades.com. Once I put it on YouTube, everything that I put on YouTube automatically gets here. Alright, whenever I put stuff on YouTube, it automatically goes right here. Alright, and next week's meeting, we'll have a link right here to sign up for it. It'll say 12:10. Alright, that'll be next week's meeting. You can sign up for it right there. You can also take the trial from here if you want to. Okay, this is targetviewtrades.com. Targetviewtrades.com. Right. You can go watch any of these past webinars that I've done. They will also end up in here, I believe. This was last week's, and so this week's, I'm pretty sure this week's will also be here. I'll do my best to put it there. I don't remember what I did last week. I know I used to have another thing up here at the top, and I know I ran out of space down here, but we'll try to get it working right again for you. Alright, so the site works good for you guys? Good, thank you. And Gary, you made 137.50 with one contract. That's good. That is excellent. Am I able to document on a short PDF as reference? I will. Which do you want me to document, Sid? What exactly do you want me to document on a short PDF as reference? Because this stuff that I've done right here, you know, the repainting in the bands like that, oh, the scalp and the swingways. Yeah, I actually have short videos for you too, Sid. Okay, I have short videos for you to look at too on those things. Okay, thanks, Jerry. Joe. We're about to have another black arrow here. Okay, now it's 4:01, so I'm going to wrap it up. It's about to give you a black arrow right here. If you get a down close, that would be a black arrow right there on the yes. But just had one here. Now this is inside the bands right here. This one will be outside the bands. This one is inside the bands. This is a short over there on the gold right now. If you want to short the gold right now. It's 4:01, so the marks are just closed. There's the outside the bands, the inside the bands black arrow right now. Now that's just a regular swing trade, right? If I just turn on the regular swing trade, that's this right here. Okay, those are just regular swing trades. So the idea behind the bands was to sort of isolate the swing trades for you. Give you a little bit more information on those. What the heck did I do there? I don't know. Anyway. That's it. I'm going to wrap it up with that, guys. Let me go here again. Go to tvtrades.com. You can sign up for the trial there. You can go here to targetviewtrades.com. The past webinars always end up here. If you click on past webinars at targetviewtrades.com, they're going to be in this page right here. You'll be able to go and watch the past webinars. You'll also be able to watch them from the home page. Anything that I put in YouTube, ends up right here. Okay, when I put it into YouTube, it ends up right here. That is my YouTube. Alright, good afternoon. Oops. That's a video of me. That's it. Alright, so with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all for coming today. If anybody has any questions or anybody wants to take the trial, just get in there and take the trial from either one of those pages, and I will get your stuff out to you right away. Gary, you guys said you were all set right now, and you made some money during this session, so that's good. And everyone else, thank you all for coming. If anybody has any questions, let me shut this off. Most of you know my phone number. If you have any questions, I'm going to shut off the recording right now.